Hey everybody, it's Jeff Antoniuk. Welcome to InBetween-isode number 6. This is the 6th in this little in-between series of jazz videos I'm doing. There was a previous series, the Jazz Process series. The next series is actually going to be starting next week, and I'm going to be announcing that this weekend. So anyway, thank you for hanging out on these 6 in-between episodes. I want to talk today about a concept that I call parent rhythms. It's sort of borrowed from some other people. We'll talk about that in a bit. But I'm just going to start off playing a little B-flat rhythm changes for you. So, rhythm changes. Did it sound like swing to you? I hope not. Did it sound like funk or a samba or, okay, maybe we're getting closer. So I was thinking about a calypso. There's actually a great Charlie Parker, Denzel Best song called We, B-flat rhythm changes. So that's what I was thinking, and I hope it came across. So that's our question, is how do you make, as a solo player, now this applies to all instruments. This isn't just about saxophone. I happen to be holding a saxophone today. That's about it. So how do we make a groove come across just with a single line instrument? Perhaps it's easier with piano or guitar. We've got a couple extra limbs. But that's what I want to talk about. And so what I'm suggesting, this idea of parent rhythms. So there was something I was doing that gave what I played the flavor. Now, was I playing calypso licks? Maybe a little bit. I don't know that I know any calypso licks. So was it the melodies I was playing? Perhaps there was an approach. But I tell you what, I was thinking about a particular rhythm, and that infused all my other decisions. So I've got a PDF here that I would be happy to send you, a little thing I did up, talking about different styles and what the parent rhythm is. And so the parent rhythm, I'll tell you right now, for a calypso, is, I was thinking essentially half notes. All sorts of embellishments. I played plenty of things that weren't half notes, but that was the parent rhythm, as in our parents, where we came from, right? So that was the rhythm that infused everything. So here's a way to think about it. The parent rhythm that you can see right up here for swing, I would say, now this is maybe a little subjective, right? We could argue about this stuff, and I'm happy to do that, but swing is 2 and 4, right? That's where we feel swing. And when you're at the gig or the concert and someone starts clapping on 1 and 3, and like how your heart almost stops, how bad that feels, right? And so a beginner jazz musician, let's say, will come up and say, oh, so what do I need to know about jazz? And you say, okay, you got to feel 2 and 4. Tap your fingers, snap your fingers on 2 and 4. And so if they're a piano player, they'll say, oh, I should comp on 2 and 4. And your answer is, no, not really. And so a bass player would say, well, I should play on 2 and 4. No, that's not it. Should I accent 2 and 4 on the saxophone? No, not really. That's not any of the rules of articulating jazz. Does the drummer play on 2 and 4? Well, maybe one of the 7 instruments they have, the hi-hat, might play 2 and 4, but a lot of modern drummers don't even do that. So what's the deal with 2 and 4, that parent rhythm? The deal is you feel it, and it infuses and informs a lot of your decisions. So a lot of us jazz musicians understand that. Okay, 2 and 4 is there, it's crazy important, but I don't overtly play it necessarily, right? So that's a great way to think of these parent rhythms. So there are parent rhythms for all sorts of other styles. So I have sort of my version of a samba, which would be our beat 3. For a Brazilian guy, that would be beat 2. Sort of confusing. They think in 2 a lot. So on this sheet is just sort of some basic rhythms. And it's a really important thing to think about. For instance, a beginning jazz drummer or someone that just kind of doesn't know what to do. In 3/4, you'll hear it playing boom, ding, ding, boom, ding, ding. It sounds like a Viennese waltz. I was going to say it's terrible. Well, it's not terrible if you're playing Strauss, right? Or that sort of thing, the Blue Danube or whatever. So that ground rhythm does not swing. So the second line down here, the ground rhythm that I would say for 3/4, and many people before me have decided that this 2 against 3, 2 dotted quarter notes, it's not 3/4 at all actually. So in jazz, if we're counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, that's the ground beat, 1 and the end of 2. So if I were going to play Someday My Prince Will Come, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So everything I played there was 1 and the end of 2. And you wouldn't confuse that for, it sounded like it had some jazz to it, right? So that's the idea. So when we understand what these ground rhythms are for each style, and when we learn how to, first of all, how to play them. First of all, can we play the rhythms? The rhythms are not that complicated. As I said, I'm happy to send you this PDF. The rhythms are pretty straight ahead, but the idea is get them so internalized that when we start improvising or comping or playing a ride pattern around that, we feel, you know, the parent rhythm is sort of felt with what we do. I almost said ground beat. And to explain that, I sort of first heard this idea, or it helped come together for me, a great teacher at Virginia Commonwealth University, Tony Garcia. He wrote some great articles on this. You can look up his website or look online. I'm certainly not the first guy to put this stuff together. I call them parent rhythms. It's what underlies everything. And so this is great for, you know, when I'm adjudicating a big band or something like this, and they're playing an Afro-Cuban tune. The drummer maybe is knocking out the clave pattern, the 2-3 clave, let's say, for an Afro-Cuban tune. But the rest of the band, horn players don't know anything about that. So of course they're playing the written rhythms, but it's not gelling. Or if it's a funk tune, for instance, and on the sheet you'll see that for funk tunes, for many styles, there's a set parent rhythm. For funk, not as much. It depends on the bass line and the drum part. So I put the parent rhythm for both Chameleon and The Chicken, 2 sort of classic jazz funk kind of tunes. And they're a little different because the bass line is different. So anyway, learn how to play those rhythms for one, then start improvising around. So like I did with the calypso version of rhythm changes, the ground beat is either half notes, 2 half notes in a measure, or you can do dotted quarter and then the and a 2, essentially the Charleston rhythm. So you could do half notes, or here's the more syncopated version. So just play through the chord changes with that rhythm. That is super challenging for a lot of people to get just right, with good time, with good articulation, making a groove. Then start playing some little fills. To keep the feel of the parent rhythm, the ground rhythm in there. So you get it. It's simple. These rhythms are not complicated. To see them on the page, it's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, so now play them with great time and intensity. That's a little more difficult. And now when you start improvising around these rhythms, that's when you can play solo saxophone and people can hear, he's playing a calypso. Now he's playing a samba. That's entirely different feel. Now he's swinging at this point. So you get the idea. When we're playing our instruments with this strength, we don't need a rhythm section behind us. Of course, we love it. But now when we get a great drummer, we're speaking his or her language a little bit, right? So you get the idea. It's that simple, that complicated. It takes a lot of practice, but it's a very simple, powerful tool. So think about that. As I said, I'd love to send you the PDF. Send me an email. You can hit me through Facebook Messenger, or get me at Antoniuk@gmail.com. I'm happy to send you this PDF and just get the information out there. I really appreciate you tuning in to this 6th and last In-Between-isode. As I said, there's going to be a new series starting next week, and going to be talking to teachers about how to communicate some of these ideas. But of course, for us players out there, that's what we're trying to do, right? So it should be good information for everybody, but I'm going to come at it from more of a teacher perspective. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, Jeff Antoniuk Educator. I appreciate it. And you'll just get a little email every time a new video comes up. And thank you for being in contact with me. Agree, disagree, expand. I love it all. I'm just trying to get some conversations going here. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.